eyes, hoping for the best but expecting the worst. Are you gonna drop the bomb or not? Let us die young or let us live forever. We don't have the power but we never say never. Sitting in a sandpit, life is a short trip. The music's for the sad man. Can you imagine when this race is won? Turn our golden faces into the sun, praising our leaders, we're getting in tune. The music's played by the madman. Forever young, I want to be forever young. Do you really want to live forever? Forever, forever young, I want to be forever young. Do you really want to live forever? Forever, forever, forever young. I wanna be forever young. Do you really want to live It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again.
My first memory of him was in the hallway his junior year of high school. Gym class had just ended and he was being escorted by a hall monitor, Miss Sack, into the dean's office because he took off his sweatshirt and was walking the halls in only a Dago tee and sweatpants. He had the most alluring smirk on his face and I couldn't help but to lock eyes with him. I had a crush on him ever since. As teenagers, I snuck him into my parents' house countless times and we would stay up all night. We ditched pep rallies to hang out. One time, he secretly borrowed his older brother Timmy's truck to pick me up, and he was so worried that he would get caught. That was the first time I saw him drop the tough guy act. I thought he was the coolest and most attractive guy on the planet. He would come to Marcus Cinema where I worked, and he would come to my register at the concession stands. He would give me that alluring smirk, and I would always give him free food and drinks. He used to have a picture of himself shirtless and flexing that he would keep under the sun visor in his Navigator. He was always showing off his muscles. He came to visit me away at college in April 2002. He was driving his red Navigator and wearing a black furry Kangol hat. He caused such a scene. Everybody was asking who he was, and he always liked being the center of attention. He asked me to marry him July 6th, 2002. He gave me a diamond pendant on a necklace, and we celebrated in a hotel suite with a private hot tub. We invited friends over, and I remember him pressuring them all to give us engagement gifts. Typical Donnie. We lived together for a few years in a few different cities. Our apartment at Four Lakes in Lisle was the best. His friends would come over every Friday and play the video game Madden NFL. We had a subwoofer box, and it was so loud. They would play for hours. He did not like it when I worked at Hooters. He would come and sit in my section, and if anyone looked at me wrong, he would say something to them. He eventually was not allowed there anymore. He was confident, bold, and he had a compelling charm. He was also very sweet and loving. We talked about everything, and we went pretty much everywhere together for a few years. He would call me every hour or so while we were apart just to check in. Together we would get our nails done, go tanning, and match our outfits daily. Once we even bleached out our hair together. He would check on me frequently during pregnancy. He was a roofer and would call while he was working every hour and ask, "How's my baby?" He referred to me as his pregnant girlfriend, and he loved my baby bump. He would keep me up all night talking about how his son would be just like him. He had so many questions about raising a baby. We were both so sure that we were having a boy long before getting the gender ultrasound. Donnie passed away August 12th, 2003. 3 months later, Donnie Jr. was born. Over the past 16 years, Donnie Jr. has grown up and looks more and more like his father every day. Their personalities and character are incredibly similar. I'm so thankful to have a piece of him still with me. I will love him always. I know for a fact that he was so happy he was going to be a dad, and he would love and be so proud to have seen his son. I can't believe how much Donnie is just like his father. He wanted to make sure that I was taken care of. Always asking Frank, "Are you going to marry my mom?" He loved those plastic animal molds at the Brookfield Zoo. Loved his birthday, asking for more presents even after I already bought him what he asked for. He called me every single day, even if only to complain about something. I'm sure he would be so proud of Donnie if he were alive now. So much like his dad. When he lived with me, he too was messy just like Donnie. I remember putting away the boys' clean clothes. Timmy's were all folded and color-coded, and Donnie's were tossed into balls hanging out of his drawer. I honestly can't make it through this video without bawling. Just wish I had one more day with him. I loved him, and I wish he was still here. He was my guy. I took a lot of those pics in this video where he's posing. He loved to flex. We were inseparable for a long time. I first met Donnie at St. Paul Lutheran School when we were 6 or 7. I remember being immediately drawn to him because of his sense of humor. He was one of the nicest kids to me in a new school, and he was always making me laugh. He always had a new nickname for me: Rye Guy, French Fry, French, Frenchie, then finally the one that stuck, Gun and Gundy. In either 1st or 2nd grade, I had my first sleepover at his house for his birthday. This began a slew of sleepovers that ran through our childhood. We had so much fun, from playing sports outside and walking around the neighborhood to playing Nintendo and Sega Genesis and watching movies. Till this day, I always think of playing Wall Street Kid on Nintendo while eating cut-up honey ham. He loved both. I loved the family dinners and the time everyone spent with each other. He has such a wonderful family, and I love that Donnie Jr. still has them too. In junior high, we started talking about girls and listening to rap. I remember he had the Beastie Boys' License to Ill on cassette tape, and we wore it out replaying songs and rapping lyrics. In high school, we drifted apart but always cared for each other. Anyone who has known Bubby will always have a special place in their heart for him. He had that impact on people. When I got back from the Marines, I ran into Bub at a bar one night. I hadn't talked to him in a long time, so it was nice to see him again. Our friendship did not skip a beat. It was like nothing had changed between us since we were young, and we spent a ton of time together playing Madden, eating great food, and having fun. I know Bubby would be so proud of Courtney and Donnie Jr., and it makes me happy to hear that Donnie Jr. is just like his dad. I have a memorial tattoo of Bubby, so there is not a day that goes by when I don't think of him. I have 2 boys of my own that I refer to as Bub on occasion when talking to them, as a term of endearment and a reminder of my best friend, who I miss dearly. I remember when Courtney was pregnant and Donnie brought us all to the Sox game with no tickets, and he pulled some strings at the ballpark and got 6 of us free seats behind home plate. So technically, Donnie Jr.'s first sporting event was a White Sox game. I never knew what was going to happen when we hung out, but I knew it definitely wouldn't be boring. One night, we were headed home in the Red Navigator, and he took a turn into the woods by his house, and all of a sudden, we were off-roading in a freaking Navigator at 1 in the morning. He got the engine so full of mud that it died on him after he dropped me off, and he had a huge smile on his face the whole time. Bubby is my first cousin. Growing up, my sister Nicole and I were lucky enough to live in the apartment above Bubby, Timmy, Don, and Dee. Even though there's a big age gap between us, I had looked forward to seeing him hop out of his nice cars or off his bike and get the biggest hug. Although it seemed like ages ago, I can still remember Bubby's infectious smile and traveling laughter. And believe it or not, I see a lot of that in Donnie Jr. The day Donnie Jr. was born, my dad rushed my sister and I to the hospital to meet you. You were and still are very special to us. I know your dad, Bubby, is looking down on you and is so proud and happy to see the man that you have become. I love you, Donnie. Hope to talk to you soon.
All right, this is like take 45, no joke. I can't get through this without crying, so I'm gonna do my best. All right, so obviously I grew up with Donnie, and we had so much fun together playing at family picnics at Granny and Papa's in the yard, and you know, Donnie was just a super fun-loving kid, and you know, we all loved each other. We were super close as cousins when we were younger. When I got close to Donnie was when my mom and I moved into the apartment that Nicole and Miranda lived in. Glenn had built the house in Wooddale and they moved out, and my mom and I moved in. It was right before my freshman year of high school, and it was to the point where my first 2 weeks I told my mom I'm not going back. It's just, I'm just not gonna go. I'm done. It was really hard. Addison was really cliquey, and even though Donnie was done and out of high school at that point, because of our age difference, we were like almost 5 years apart. It was still like I had him kind of there to protect me, because as soon as word got around that I was Donnie Remus's cousin, cha-ching, I was in the in crowd. There wasn't a single teacher in that building that didn't know who Donnie Remus was. And once word kind of got around that I was Donnie Remus's cousin, things kind of changed and people started talking to me and being a little bit nicer to me. And I think that's a true reflection on the kind of person your dad was. Your dad would talk to anybody. Your dad always left a positive impression on everybody that he came across. And it was just because of that infectious smile of his and kind of like just how he dealt with people. He was super outgoing, which I never was, and I always kind of admired that about him. I think that it was really admirable of him to kind of like watch out for me. He didn't have to do that. You know, he kind of just said, you know, whatever you need, just let me know anytime, day or night. Somebody picking on you, let me know, I'll take care of it. So definitely made my high school experience much better. I, you know, remember through those years the things that Donnie and I would do. We were super nerds when on the weekends we would wash our cars together. We loved washing our cars in the driveway. We'd put on our club music. Donnie got me hooked on club music, so I can thank him for that. I probably still have some of the CDs and maybe even cassettes, who knows, in my box of stuff upstairs. But I can thank him for my love of club music. But we turn on music, drive Papa crazy with the loud bumping music, and wash our cars every Saturday or Sunday if the weather was nice. It was like our thing. But I miss him. I mean, when I got the news that he had died, I was away at college and I felt like I had lost my protector. I felt like I lost somebody that was always like gonna be there for me, that, you know, I could always call on day or night. Even when I was living in the city, like I always felt like I could rely on him, and that was such an admirable quality that he had. I see so much of him in you, Donnie, that I think it's awesome. I think it's amazing. I know that Father's Day might not be the easiest holiday for you, and we just wanted to let you know that we're here for you, even though we're all the way in Illinois and we may not talk, and we're still your family. Nicole, Miranda, and I would do anything for you, just like your dad would do anything for us.
Hey Donnie, just wanted to say a few things about your dad. I actually got to grow up above your dad until I was about 9. So I have a lot of, I just remember like always having fun when we were younger. There was always somebody around, always somebody to, someone was always pulling in the driveway or playing basketball or blasting music or playing video games. There's actually this like secret staircase in Uncle Don's house that goes all the way, goes upstairs, like in one of the closets. So I remember when I was little, your dad and Timmy would chase us up and down those staircases. I also remember begging Uncle Don or Auntie Dee to like let us in to go wake up your dad or Timmy like on an early Sunday morning, because I was probably like 6, 7, and they were teenagers wanting to sleep. So it was kind of cool to have them grow up, underneath us, and they were always around, which was nice. And then as I got older, I would go, especially like the last few years, because I became a lot closer with your dad when I got older. So I would call him about boys, or I was like, oh well, wait till I tell my cousin, because that's how he was. Like he was a protector, you don't want to mess with him. But it was just nice to have someone to talk to. He was very understanding. Like he just always gave me like advice that like a big brother, I guess, would give you, don't be stupid. So it was neat to have him around. I always remember like when we were little too, like family parties and picnics. And I remember like my graduation, I believe was from like 8th grade. He showed up, and everybody, when your dad showed up somewhere, like everybody knew he was there. He was like the center of attention, the life of the party. He was always dressed like super well, and like he was always telling a funny joke, or he was fun. He was a good soul. Like he was someone nice to be around. It's actually pretty interesting because I work in Addison now, and that's where he went to high school with and stuff. And the people that I run into are like, you're Donnie Remus's cousin? I'm like, yeah. And everybody knows him or has a memory or has something good to say about him. Like it's really, it's nice to see that everybody still, talks about him. He was always happy. There was always a smile on his face. It's actually really awesome because when I see you, like you look just like your dad, and it's really nice that a part of him has got to live on through you. You are such a spitting image of your father, and it's I just know that he'd be super, super, super proud of you. And I had one more thing, Dad. I don't know if you know this, but me, my sister, and Jackie, all after your dad had passed, went and got, well, separately, but we all have tattoos on us somewhere. I have Bubby on my ankle, and that's just how I get to think of your dad every day, a little reminder. And he was really loved by all of us, and we all love you, so just wanted to let you know.
Okay, Donnie, a story about your dad. Well, it was the day you were born. We were in the hospital in delivery. Nani D was so excited. You know me, I had my movie camera out. And all of a sudden the doctor says, turn the camera off, call neonatal, and things went crazy. Well, you came out and you weren't breathing. And they brought you back to life. So that night, I was really tired, and I'm in bed at about 3 o'clock in the morning. Something woke me up, and that something was your dad. He was in the corner by my closet, and he just shook his head, and he said, I only wanted to hold him for a minute. I was always going to give him back. And you know me, I started throwing pillows and swearing at him and everything until he went back up to heaven. But that's the story that comes to mind as I think about your dad. Okay? He's always with you. He really is. Love you, sweetie.